12th Annual Fremont Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony. I'm glad that you are here.
It's really special for us because we're recognizing one of our own, Dr. Lana Carter, who has contributed so much to PCC over many, many years. And so we're thrilled. But when I look at the other honorees, I see that all of the individuals that are being honored tonight have touched Pueblo Community College in such tremendous ways. Whether you've taught for us, or you've raised scholarships for us, or you've invested your heart and soul in us. I always tell people when I'm traveling throughout the state that Canyon City loves its community college, right?
I am so supportive of the college. In 1971, I was the president of the Chamber of Commerce here in Canyon City, and Fremont County had 7 doctors, 5 in Canyon City, 2 in Florence. We had 7 nurses operating out of the apartment house that is catty corner from the library here. And if you had anything other than an upset stomach, you pretty well had to go out and go down to Pueblo or Colorado Springs. And this has always been a part of my feeling of payback to Canyon City. Thank you all so much.
That November, my family went through the unimaginable when we woke up one morning to find my younger brother not breathing. He passed away in his sleep on my mom's birthday. Through all of the heartbreak and grief I experienced that year and the years following, I have found my strength. I graduated from high school in 2007 and now stand in front of you less than a month away from graduating with my RN. School is understandably demanding, making it hard to work consistent hours. This scholarship has helped ease my financial burdens, allowing me more time to become successful in my studies. Thank you to the Newmont Mining Corporation, to the many donors at this event, and the PCC Foundation for making this scholarship possible. I also want to thank the faculty. They are truly the best, and the support that I have received since I walked through the doors has been incredible, and I will never be able to properly thank everybody who has helped me along my journey.
PCC campus, I want to again applaud all of our student scholars. You just heard from Miss Jessica, and you know, Miss Jessica, soon to be RN. Doesn't that sound good? It does. Yeah. And she told you her story, and it is indicative of many of the stories that our scholars have come to us with. After experiencing challenges, sometimes they have to go down one path and retrace that path to discover a new life direction.
A couple of years before I became the dean of the Fremont campus, we would take students down to the Four Corners area, and we would, it was basically travel classes. These were classes in anthropology, and we would go into the ancient Puebloan ruins and into the canyons, and we would talk about cultures of the Southwest. Well, one year we were taking students to the Bridges National Monument, and I don't know if you've been there, but it is, God truly blessed this country with some of the most beautiful, beautiful environment. But it's also a very harsh environment. And we were hiking, just a couple of students and the professor, we were hiking from one of the bridges to the other, and we're down in this canyon, sandstone cliffs, hundreds of feet high. It was hot. And I found myself getting a little ahead of the students. And so I sat down in the shade of one of the canyons, and I leaned against the wall, and I was resting, waiting until the other students showed up. And as I sat there, I leaned my head back, and I started noticing on the sandstone cliff that there were some petroglyphs, the rock art that's pecked into the side of the cliffs. And I lost my breath. I started noticing that there were not one or two, there were dozens of petroglyphs that had human figures And these human figures ranging all the way across about 20 or 30 feet, dozens of them. And they were all holding hands, one after the other after the other. And I'm sitting there in the cool of the shade, and I'm thinking, my God, how did they get up there to begin with? And why did they do this? Not just months, probably years of people getting up there and pecking, doing these human figures, all holding hands. And then it dawned on me, this had nothing to do with just art. This was about community. This was about not just even survival, it was about people flourishing, coming together, protecting each other, supporting each other, becoming a community of individuals that flourished. And that is what we are about. That's what Fremont County is about. We are about community. And we know that we celebrate this in so many different ways, but I really see that is what we do tonight. We celebrate each other and the things that we do for each other.
Each other at Walmart this week, and I told her, my husband one time had a solo at a junior high concert, a trumpet solo, and he ditched. I was tempted to do the same thing tonight. And so many people have been so kind and said, hey, you know, congratulations, and you get so much attention, and when I talked about this, you feel awkward, you know. I just want to fly under the radar, you know. And Ed Norton is to blame for all this. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. I started out, I'm an oldie, graduated from high school in '64, and wanted to help kids. I love kids. I was a lifeguard all through college. I loved teaching swimming lessons to little kids and seeing them so fearful and overcome it and go on. And so I taught 7 years in Lower Rural, Pennsylvania. I'm a north of Pittsburgh person, and then moved to Colorado and was blessed to get the job here in Canyon. And I've always considered a blessing living here. And I've always cared about kids. So when I retired, it was like, okay, now what do I do? You know, and I was talking to a very, very dear friend on the phone back in Pittsburgh. In fact, Barb was a student of mine my first 3 years teaching in Lower Rural. And I lamented that I felt really sorry for the kids who academically could further their education, but their parents either emotionally did not support them or financially could not support them. And Barb said, why don't you do that? Why don't you start a scholarship for kids like that? And I have been blessed. Steve has bought me fabulous camera equipment, Christmas presents, and it's like, you know, I'm kind of like that one lens. I was real embarrassed going out in front of people with it because I didn't want them to look at me. It was such a big lens. But I've been blessed beyond measure, you know, with all of this. And so what happened is I then went to Jeff Mueller. I said, Jeff, my plan was take sports action photography, put them online, let parents who don't have the camera equipment buy action sports pictures of their kids. And I went to Jeff, I said, if I want to start a scholarship, how do I start it without Uncle Sam skimming the interest out of my savings account, you know? And he said, join Rotary. He said, we have a tax-free foundation. And that's how it started.
Many times as I've been on stage and been in front of a classroom, I'm absolutely terrified of public speaking. So, every time I step on stage, I get a case of stage fright. And every time I go into a classroom, I get stage fright. So what I've done is just written down, or with the help of Kathy, just written down a few words, and I'll keep it very, very brief, okay? All right. Okay, to my family, friends, fellow inductees, honored guests, students in Pueblo Community College, supporters, good evening. I stand here before you surprised, humbled, and deeply honored to be inducted into the PCC Fremont Campus Hall of Fame this evening. It is indeed a privilege to be in the presence of so many who have given of their time, talent, efforts, and for some, lifetimes, for the benefit of our branch campus and community. If I may, I would like to take just a few moments to acknowledge some very important people. First, to my family. It means the world to me that you're able to join me this evening and share this honor. My daughters and their families traveled from across the country. No small feat for a total of 9 kids. And of course, having my sister Lori and brother Greg's families in attendance makes it all the more special. A huge thank you to 2 very dear people in my life, Kathy Heron and of course, Kathleen Norman.
Here is the toast. Please hold up your glasses. So, and what a privilege it is for me to actually close out the emceeing of this event. It's one of my favorite nights. So what a joy to gather and listen to stories of your indelible contributions to the betterment of this community and the humility that graces each one of you. Thank you for sharing your gifts of passion and generosity, and may you continue forever on your soul-feeding journey of selflessness and service to others. Cheers to you, and blessings always. Here.